Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to make yet another paper project, and to do so, I'm going to use this packaging, which I've been hoarding for a while. I do like to save packaging that is interesting, and what I liked about this one was the size and also this little window. I thought it was quite interesting, and it would make for a nice little cover of a journal. And I'm also going to use this gorgeous paper pad from Tim Holtz. This is a 12 by 12 inches paper pad. It's called Memoranda. I won't be using this for now. I want to make the folio inside. Basically, if you have watched one of my latest flip throughs, I think the folio was called Memories of a Teal Tides. That's just the title I gave it. I made a sort of junk journal by making individual folios and then binding them together with the cover, and it became a junk journal. I want to do something similar to this, but of course here I have a tinier gusset, so I think I'll keep this with a maximum of 2 separate folios. Maybe 3, but I'm thinking more on 2. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. So for now, I'm going to put this aside. I don't need this for now. Okay, so I decided to pick these 2 papers. This one and this one. And I picked these 2 because I loved the red accents that they had. Especially this one on the back is all red, because in my mind I imagine this junk journal to have a focus on the red color, because I realized I don't really use red a lot aside from Christmas time, but I think that red can be an everyday color as well, and look how nice it is paired with neutral colors. So I'm going to cut them so they can fit here. This packaging is 19.3 centimeters in height. Of course, these 2 flaps are going to be cut, so I did not measure them, and I want this to be slightly smaller, so I'm going to cut this paper at 19 centimeters. Okay, so I've cut my bases. Okay, so when I'm scoring these pieces, I want to keep in mind which side is going to be the outside and the inside. So I think I want to have this on the outside and this on the inside. So I'm going to score from the inside part, and I will score at 11 centimeters and at 21. Okay, and that's because this is going to be closed down like this, so the cover part of the folio is going to be longer. If I make my folios like this, they're going to be very thin, and once I add the pockets and the inclusion, this is not gonna close down, and I'm gonna put a lot of stress here. So what I want to do, I'm gonna make another score line at 10.5. So this is another score line, and this is gonna give me a little tiny gusset that allows me to fill up this folio without it breaking it and making a mess. And here I scored a 21, and I'm going to score, I could either do 20.5 or 21.5. I think because I want to keep this space not too narrow, I'm going to, instead of doing it from the outside, I'm going to go, so instead of doing here, I'm going to do here, but it's the same. It's still the same size of gusset. Now I'm going to fold this again. So what I usually do as well is I reinforce my gussets with some washi tape. So now this is, oh, this is not how it's supposed to go. This is the folio. You see it has a little gusset, so this allows us to fill it up with all the good stuff. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Right now I want to add the washi tape to the gussets to reinforce them. This one might look quite nice, although I like this one here but not here, so I could use like a different one here. Yeah, so obviously the washi tape needs to be glued down with a stronger glue, so I'm going to grab a brush. Okay, so for this one, I got out this glitter washi tape. A while back, I got obsessed with using glitter washi tapes in my projects, especially when they were a little bit grungy. I felt like adding the glittery washi tape added some interest to it, and so I bought quite a lot of them, and this one came with the pack I ordered, and I think it matches the pattern of the inside so well. Okay, so the washi tape is glued down on both of my folios. I'm going to wait for them to dry, and off camera I will be sewing all around my pieces, and then I will be back. Okay, so the pieces are both sewn around. I sewn with red thread that is going to be again the color, the main color of this folio. And the next thing I want to do, I want to round the corners of my folio. I'm going to use the smaller option. First thing I will do is I create a pocket for this, just a normal pocket, and I also want to make something here. So I think that I want to make a flap that opens up like this, and then here under the flap I will have a pocket, a side pocket. Before we do any of this, I'm going to ink around everything. I want to do the flap for this, and I chose this paper to do that because it had the flowers that I think paired well with the washi tape and with the background of this. I want this to not be as wide as this, so I'm going to mark the height. Has to be at this height, and the length I'm going to do it this way because I want to use this piece here with the flowers, and so I'm going to turn the page around, and these are the two score lines, and I want to mark it, I would say around here. Okay, so there is a little bit of space, and I'm going to cut 1 centimeter more than my mark. So this is my mark here, and I'm going to cut it 1 centimeter more because with that extra piece I'm going to create the flap so I can glue it down on this piece. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is put it on my scoreboard. I'm going to score 1 centimeter on this side. I'm gonna fold, and now I think I'm going to make the pocket here. So what I like to do sometimes, and I also did it in my last junk journal folio, I like to make ripped pockets. So I take a piece of paper, I just rip the corners, and that's my pocket. I think it adds a lot of interest, especially if you're doing a grungy project. Okay, so this is gonna be my pocket for the side here, and I'm gonna just rip the edge. And what I was thinking, actually, I think I saw it on one of Tim Holtz maker's page. Her name is, oh god, what's her name? I think her name on YouTube is Shabby Soul. And I was watching one of her flip through videos, and she had made a folio, and she made a pocket that was like ripped, and then at one point the rip sort of folded over and it was sewn like that. So I think I want to make something similar if I can do that. So I think I'm going to start ripping. Let's say up until here, and then I'm gonna fold this I don't know if that's how she made it, but that's how I imagine it in my head. So yeah, this is the same paper, just offcut. I used it again. So I think I'm gonna fold it like this, okay? And then I'm gonna, should I fold? I think I should fold more. Okay. I'm just folding it by hand. And then I'm gonna start gripping from here. Okay, it doesn't look exactly like I want it to, but let's see if I can. Okay. Yeah, I think this is cute. So when I sew it, I'm going to, of course, sew everything. And then here I'm gonna sew over the top. So this is gonna stay folded. Okay, so this is going to be an accordion piece, so it's going to be folded like this, right? And because I know that the length of my piece is 30.5 centimeters, or in inches, it's 12. Now, why do I am talking in inches all of a sudden? Because I feel like when I need to do something like this, it's easier to think about in inches, because in centimeters it's going to be a little difficult, especially if you're using the scoreboard. The scoreboard does not tell you every single millimeter, but if you're using the inches, it's easier to find that. So I know that the length of this is 12, right? And even if you don't know how inches work because you always use centimeters, it's really easy. Go on the side of the ruler that has the inches, and we're just going to mark at 4, says 4, do a mark, and 8, okay? So we're going to score following these 2 marks, and if you have a scoreboard that has inches, you're fine. I don't, so this is why I make the marks beforehand, because you see this doesn't have the millimeters, so this is why it's easier, and I use this method. That's what I'm gonna do. So you'll see that I don't have the mark for this. I'm just gonna move it to the next mark and score. I'm gonna do the same for this other mark. You see, I don't have the, and score here. Okay, so we have our 2 score lines, and these are gonna be 3 exact pages. Okay, so I have to fold like this. Oh, the back of this is really pretty. I did not notice that. Oh, the back of this is so pretty. Well, we're going to see the back anyway, because we're going to do some cutting. Okay, so now we have our accordion piece, right? So now we don't need this anymore. Now we have to cut it. And in my mind, this piece was gonna stay like this, and I'm just gonna round the corners. So you don't have to do this if you don't like the rounded corners, but I'm going to do so. I think I like the bigger one for this, and I'm just gonna round this corner. So this piece we don't have to cut. And I'm also gonna round this corner here with the bigger one. Oh, it's a bit hard. Okay. So this is gonna be the back piece. Now this, the middle part, I'm going to cut into a tag shape, but it's going to be shorter than this. I'm going to take 3 centimeters off. Okay. Also going to punch a hole here, so it looks even more like a tag. And now, the last piece I want to make into a pocket, kind of like the one we made for the other piece with the thumb tuck. what I think I'm going to do is, I like this opening up, but I think I want to glue only this pocket on, and then I will have this opening like this. I was thinking I wanted to create 2 pockets here that go like this, because I want to use these tags in this journal. These are tags that I made in a video. If you're interested, I might link it down below in the description. I made 2 videos featuring this kind of collage patchwork tags. They were called Scrap Buster, the video, because it was meant to use up your scrap and create something, you know, useful with it. I usually don't do that. I usually don't create pockets for the ephemera that I want to use. It's usually the opposite. But because I think these tags might look very nice with the colors of the papers, I definitely want to use them, and I want to create 2 pockets here. So I can put the tags like this. Okay, so these are going to be my 2 pockets. I'm going to sort of go like this for this piece of the folio. Here on this side, I'm going to create a belly band, a vertical belly band, but on the belly band I want to put 3 tiny envelopes like this one. So I have not only the belly band, but I also have extra pockets. Okay, so the envelopes are all inked up and glued down. I wanted to create something else with these envelopes. Like, so let's see, this is the belly band, right? So the envelopes are going to sit like this, but I want the envelopes to be a pocket even in the back and not only inside. So I was thinking I'm going to create a backing for these envelopes with like some cardstock, so they can be pockets. When they're glued down on the belly band, you can still put something on the back. Okay, for the next pocket, I'm going to create something on the folio number 2. I want to create something here. So I want to create a sort of envelope pocket, but it's going to have a window. I'll need a whole piece, and it has to be folded in some kind of way. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to measure how big I want the pocket to be, and I'm thinking, let's see, let's say like this, right? I'm going to make a mark on my paper. So this is going to be my pocket. I want to double this, so 9.3 plus 9.3 is 18.6. It's here, okay, because it's going to be folded, but then I want the flap, and I also want the flap to not close directly. I want to have a little gap. So count a couple of centimeters more for the gap. So I will have 20.6. I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm doing this all in my head. And for the flap, I'm probably going to reach, the flap needs to be a little longer. I think I'm going to be generous and cut it 25 for the flap, but it might need to be a little shorter. I just want to make sure I have enough. So now I have made all of these marks. I'm going to cut it this one at the 25 mark. Okay, so we're going to score. The first score that we have to do is this one. I'm going to move it a little bit So this is gonna be the pocket like this, right? Then the other score line is here. Going to move here for a moment. Okay. So in the end, we're going to have this, right? You see, this is the flap, this is the pocket. So this is gonna be my window. Now I want to cut it. Okay, so this is how the pocket is going to look. And yes, the flap is definitely too long, so I'll have to shorten it. Want to make is something for the center of the folio, and I do really like making interactive elements. So I want to do two flaps in the center, one that open up like this. So this is gonna be the top flap, so I'm gonna score 1 centimeter here. And this is gonna be the lower flap, so I want to score on this side 1 centimeter. So they're going to sit like this. Okay, so for the center of this folio, instead I'm going to do another frame pocket. I'll be adding 2 more pockets, and I decided to do it in the same style of the other side pocket I made. So I'm going to rip them, and what I did is I grabbed a piece and I cut it not exactly in half. It's cut in this side is a little bit longer than this, and now I'm gonna rip the edges. So these 2 pockets are going to sit like this. So they're going to be 2 side pockets. Okay, so this piece here is 10.5 wide. So my 2 strips would need to be, I want to leave a little bit of a gap. So I'm probably going to cut, is a 5mm gap enough? Yes. So let's say I need a 10. I'm trying to understand what I want to do. So I need 10 here. This part needs to be 10 in total. So the two pieces will need to be 5 plus 1 for the flap here. So I'll need a piece of 6, and here will need to be 5 point. I'm also gonna do 6 actually. So I need a 12. Okay, so this is my piece. I'm gonna cut it at 6. And I'm going to score. No, this is how they go, right? Okay. So this is gonna be the left piece, and I'm going to score both pieces at 1 centimeter. This one on the left side, like this, and this one on the right side. But for the left piece, I also need to score another line because it will wrap around the spine. So I'm also going to give it a score line at 0.5 so it can do this. Perfect. And this is gonna go like this, and we're going to have our closure. I want to give these pieces also the shape of a tag. Okay, so all the pockets that I've created are glued down. You see how they look. So I also added the eyelets to this little closure on the first folio, as well as on this thing right here. This is also a pocket. The idea, you can tuck something. Also behind here I can put something, and I also added some inclusions. I added the other tags that I made from that video, and of course I'm going to give you a quick flip through once we're done decorating it, so don't worry. So the next thing I want to do now is here on the flaps there is nothing, and I want to add something. Now I don't know what to add here in the middle yet. I was thinking that I could add some more pockets, or maybe I could add like a cluster decoration of sorts. I still haven't decided yet. But what I want to do on the flaps, I want to add some more pockets on here, and I want to do that using the offcuts from the papers that I used to create the little envelopes. And I was thinking to have them stacked together like this. So I have 2 stacked pockets. So I'm going to cut them to size, and then I'm going to give them a ripped edge like I did here. Okay, so now I'm going to take the individual piece and I'm going to rip the edge. I'm actually thinking that I quite like this look. Instead of having them both ripped, I like having one that is straight and one that is ripped. I might round the corners of these 2 pieces because I don't like when they're too straight, so I might do that. because I quite like, yeah, I think I'm going to do this.